Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining in. My name is Mohindo Mubarak. I'm a software developer at A Technologies Consult. Today, we are going to discuss the future of software development in Africa, in Uganda, across the whole world, amid these new technologies that are breaking through. So anyone who is very curious about software development, I believe you're already around here. So, and I request all of us to be attentive in just a few minutes, less than 40 minutes, we shall be done. So we have our expert, our guest, Mr. Jonathan Kizito. So before I let him in, I request everyone to once again share. Kindly press that share button and post on the timeline. All right, we have questions that we're going to ask our expert, our guest, and then we will be able to get much more light about the future of software development in the country Uganda, across Africa, and across the whole world. All right. Mr. Jonathan Kizito, you're welcome. I'd request you to open your microphone and introduce yourself. Mr. Jonathan, I request you to open your microphone and then speak briefly about yourself. I hope you're not facing challenges with your microphone. Can you try to open it now? Because I think I had muted you. Good.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah, I think that was the reason why.
Okay, sorry. Okay, welcome, and we are glad to have you here, our expert. I request you to talk about yourself briefly so people can know you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, host. As you've said, my name is Jonathan Kizito, and I am a lecturer at Mackay University, Department of Computer Science. But also, I have been in the industry of software development or applications development for quite some time. I first graduated in 2001, and since then I've been working in the area of software development. Thank you.
All right, we are glad to have you here, and you can imagine you've had enough time experiencing these technologies, how they have been evolving. So I believe people are now confident that you have the right person. All right, well, first question that we have prepared for you is looking ahead, what are some of the most exciting trends you see emerging in software development? Are you observing that are emerging at the moment in software development field?
Yeah, thank you very much for this interesting question. Actually, there's quite a list of what I would call emerging technologies. I can try and highlight a few of them, up to around 10 or so, but the list grows every now and then, as we may all be aware. I can try and actually rank them according to in my own view. I think one of the most growing emerging tech is now AI and machine learning. As we may know, we are going to dig deeper in some of these, I think, later on. But AI is about trying to train machines to act and react like or respond like human beings. That's why we call it artificial intelligence, which technology goes hand in hand with ML, or what we call machine learning. I'm not going to dive into details for now. Let me just give an overview. I think the host will pick interest in some of them, and we shall dig deeper. There's what you call cybersecurity. I think it's also another interesting technology, which is the area concerning about trying to counter cyber threats. There is quite different kinds of cyber threats, and that's where the area of cyber security comes in handy. Of course, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm following you. I'm listening in.
Yeah. Thirdly, there's what you call, I think, another interesting area is cloud centralization and cloud computing. These days, there's a lot of usage of the cloud, having all these resources in the cloud. Many years ago, when I've talked about 2001, we used to have physical servers in our offices. And this is now a thing of the past. You don't need to have your own data center or physical servers that you walk to troubleshoot, but you can access all these resources from the cloud. In my view, I think that's also another interesting emerging technology. There's also an area that we refer to as low code or no code development, which is an area where we try to write as minimal code or almost no code as possible, with a lot of libraries here and there and different platforms that allow us to generate the code for us. This also seems to be another interesting emerging technology. There's what we call progressive web apps. This is also so common now and very frequent that people deploy their apps and just deploy them on the web. So you're able to use the app from the web. There's what we call the Internet of Things. I think is also another interesting technology where we try to bring the computing power and the resources closer to the data such that the user can have quicker access to the resources. If I can digress a bit, there's also what we call the 5G. Now, this is in the area of telecommunications. 5G seems to be another, this is the fifth generation technology, which is succeeding 4G. There's something similar to Internet of IoT, which is called edge computing. I don't want to mean they are the same, but there's what you can call a similarity between the two. And I believe also edge computing is something of good interest.
So here comes our question. I'd like you to, and
Yes.
before I go to the next question, I'd like you to tell us the difference, because I've picked interest here. I'd like you to tell us the difference, if there is a difference, between machine learning and artificial intelligence. People are confusing these two. So what could you tell us the difference between these two terminologies?
Okay, thank you very much. AI, as I've already mentioned, is about training computers to think and act like humans. We try to train them how to respond to actions as a human being would. So this is a continuous process where you have to train ML. The two have a similarity, but I'm not saying they're the same. I would consider ML a field of study in artificial intelligence. So in that way, I would say that AI is broader than ML. ML is a study in AI concerned with the development and study of statistical algorithms that can learn from the data and generalize to expose unseen data. That's how I would differentiate between the two.
So in simple terms, it is the machine learning that is powering the AI.
Yeah, I think it does. I would, because it's I would define it as a study in AI.
All right. So I think that brings us to our second question. Of course, it is connecting to what you've responded. With the right, I mean, there's a trending question at this moment that software developers are worried about. Like with the rise of artificial intelligence, you as an experienced expert, what could you say? Do you think that AI is going to replace the human software developers? We developers, do you think AI is going to replace us according to these trends?
Thank you very much, host. In my view, actually, I think we need to appreciate the emerging technologies. If I were to weigh the pros and cons, with the introduction of AI, we have things like increased efficiency, data analytics, more availability, improved accuracy, personalization. Of course, people are worried that maybe there could be job displacement. People could be worried about ethical concerns. We could be worried about lack of creativity and empathy. We could be worried about maybe cost or complexity, things like reliability and so on. But in my view, the challenge we have as developers is to adopt to the technology because it's inevitable. Uh, and I think change is always inevitable. So if we can embrace the emerging technologies, then we adapt, then we can harness. Actually, AI will improve the life of a developer, in my view.
So don't you think that
So I don't think it's a cost.
don't you think it's going to replace developers? For example, if a developer could take maybe 2 days to build a web page, but right now he's going to take 5 minutes to build a web page, a certain web page, by the support of AI. So don't you think some companies will need lesser, more developers to save their resources? Hence, developers use more, some part, being a portion of developers losing their job.
That is a possible worry, but in my view, if the AI is worked, we need actually better developers who understand the technology, because when you build these systems, the next challenge is maintenance.
Mm.
And if someone doesn't understand the technology, they are not able to maintain these tasks.
I think
So you need actually better developers who understand the technology.
I think that is true. I think just developers need to be to make sure that they work hard, not to be among the ones that are going to be dropped out. Because at the end of the day, they'll need an expert to operate the AI. So you have
Thank you.
each developers to be much more creative, to make sure that they are among the ones which will survive. But but I think at some point maybe some will be dropped because uh, it is really contributing a lot compared to what to having no AI in place. Yeah, so I think that brings us to another question, which is like which goes low coding or no code development platforms seem to be gaining the attraction at this moment. How will these impacts? How will these platform which support no coding or low coding impact the way how softwares are built in future?
Yeah, thank you very much, host. Once again, I try to highlight as I answer your question that this concept called low code or no code is the concept where we want to write as minimal code as possible, and we have platforms which are actually generating this code for us. And actually, many companies are adopting this policy. We have a similar concern like AI, but just to highlight, uh, low code or no code means we shall have faster development, we shall have cost savings, we shall have increased efficiency, just like with AI. The example you gave with AI, that if I can, it takes me 5 days, but if I employ an AI technology, it can take maybe a day. So that's efficiency. We have agile adaptability, enhanced collaborations. We shall have more empowered actually developers in order to
Mm,
manage
mm,
the platforms.
mm,
So to me, much as we have this worry of the technology coming in, I think we need to embrace it
mm,
and adapt to it.
mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is true. For example, the emerging of Copilot, it is just the way how you look at it. It is you either make use of it or you fear it, and then it replaces you. But if you embrace it, as you said, it will just increase your productivity because there is always room for creativity, and one should always know that AI cannot be that much more creative like a human being. So you talked about the cloud computing. So cloud
Yes.
computing has become essential for software development because these days everything has to be worked on remote. If you're doing a mobile application, still it must have a way how to send the data somewhere. and receive back. Even if, like, almost if you go on Play Store right now, on Google Play Store right now, you'll find like 99% of the mobile apps, even though they are supposed to work on the local machine, you'll find almost 99%. Even if they are mobile games, something like that, they'll need internet connection. I mean, they need the cloud server connection. So this cloud computing has become essential for software development. How do you see the cloud? How do you see the cloud evolving and shaping the future of development practices?
Yeah, thank you very much again. Yeah, cloud computing and cloud centralization is something that we cannot do away with. It's the future. And like you said, most of the resources now can be uh, harnessed from the cloud. You don't have to have a physical computer, a server. You don't have to ensure you have a lot of memory. There's a lot of plus when we respect cloud computing, and it's going to grow. We expect growth in the hybrid systems. We expect to have multi-cloud systems. Actually, we expect even edge computing to rise because of cloud computing technology. We expect clouds to enable more emerging technologies. Of course, there's a focus on security, which I think we shall also talk about later on.
Sure.
But if you see that all of these things are happening in the cloud, then we have to just harness what the cloud can offer us, as opposed to the old-fashioned way of having everything offline.
Mm.
I think actually cloud computing acts as a backbone for many other emerging technologies.
Mm. That is true. You've hinted about the security. So this security, as these more technologies are evolving, emerging, so cybersecurity is also changing the dimension day by day. Long time ago, it was until you get access someone's phone physically, it is when you could do you could break a law of cybersecurity, something like that. But this time, people's information are being saved on internet all the time. Like 90% of information is on internet. So it is increasing, and the security issue or cyber security threats. For example, I will give you an example here in Uganda. Due to this emerging of AI, someone was able to create a song of someone who has already passed on, and I think most of people here know. Someone was able to make a song of Mose Radio, and you couldn't differentiate just because of the power of AI. So as we were there listening to the song of Mose Radio, so those who are following news, it was really surprising. I mean that someone can even use your voice without your consent. So there was also something that is emerging on internet, that is someone being able to make your face to do a pornography video without your consent. Like, since AI can generate a what? Can generate a voice, can maybe compose a voice and do something exactly like a voice. You can as well do the same for your picture. You can pick your picture and create a video that has never existed. So in Europe right now, they're experiencing uh, a huge number of for pornography video for celebrities. Someone will just pick your photo and then use AI to do what? To generate a porn video. So it is becoming a serious cybersecurity threat. So here comes our question: how can the software development? How can the software development adapt to these new emerging technologies to ensure that the cybersecurity? To ensure the safe they are safe about this cyber security for the future applications.
Thank you very much, host. Actually, this is another interesting emerging technology. And I have to say, in most of these technologies, yeah, there is always a worry. The human beings are not easy to trust, the unknown. But before I dive into the very question, maybe we can emphasize that this topic is about trying to handle. We are developing all these apps and we're putting them out there. We need to worry about the security of these apps. And this is where we come into what we call cyber security. In my view, I think we should be more worried about the cyber threats becoming more sophisticated. Actually, it is true that if even you look at the simple attacks, whenever you come against the attack, the cyber threats becomes more clever. So we should expect that the cyber threats are going to evolve. So we don't need to have one-time solutions. That means the solutions also need to adapt to the evolving of the threats. And one other thing that maybe I can mention is that, in my view, we need to invest more into the human side of the AI. And also, this goes back to emphasize the fact that AI is not here to eliminate the human being, because the human being is the core of all of this. So as cyber threats become more sophisticated and they evolve, we also need to become more adaptive to their evolvement and invest more in the human side of the AI.
That's true. Yeah, thank you so much for that response. So, just for the sake of our audience, would you just simply explain what is meant by cybersecurity? Because some people here might not be having idea of what is meant by cybersecurity.
Yeah, thank you, host. You see, the word cyber comes from the fact that you have this what we call the cyberspace, this big network in the whole world, which you call the internet, and we are putting a lot of our apps up there in the cloud. So we have the worry that there are all of these threats. I think I can begin by talking about a very simple concept of a virus. We all know we have been hit by a virus. A simple virus comes with an intention to destroy. And our job is to try and make sure we come against this. Now, for a virus, it's a simple example which can even attack you when your app is not in the cloud, but simply because you're connected to a computer. So we have these threats that we call the cyber threats, and these are lingering around our applications that are running in the cloud. And because of that, we need to come up with security against these threats in the cyberspace. In my view, that's what I would consider the concept of cyber security, trying to secure our apps that are up there in the cyberspace.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as long as your data is in digital format, so that is cyber in simple terms. So, the security of your
Yes.
data, it makes up the word cyber security. All right, thank you so much, our guest. So that takes us to our last question, but not, I mean, last but not the least, which goes as the software development becomes much more complex, as you can see the emerging of AI, like the way AI has just come in and the way how we've seen the power of AI can do in less than 2 years. For example, during COVID, just that is 2021, we didn't even know much more about AI, but you see now how AI has broken through. So there's a lot of concerns, including security and all the possible things that it can do, impersonation and all the rest. So the software development is becoming complex at a very high rate. So how can we ensure that development processes remain efficient and adaptable? For example, we had our old development processes, agile model, and the rest. So since these AI are breaking through, these technology are breaking through, and we have a lot of assistance, the code can write itself, something like that. So how can we make sure that these processes that we've been having, that have managed us to reach at this level, remain efficient and adaptable?
Yeah, I thank you, host, once again. Yeah, this is I would say a lingering worry among us. If I can give my own experience, I am one person who would actually be worried about this. When I was doing my bachelor's or in my first early stages of development, most of these things didn't exist. We used to write one layer code, write your language, write your code, write the SQLs, the DBs, and so on. Now we have a lot of frameworks changing things. We have now things in the cloud. You have a lot of frameworks writing code. Now that should be a worry for someone who enjoys terminating his statements by himself. However, after all these many years, Now you can see that the only way you keep up is to first and foremost embrace the technology. And once you embrace the technology, then you have to adapt. There are quite a number of courses that now we teach that those of us teaching them didn't actually study during that time. The only way to do that is to adapt. Appreciate the technology and adapt to it, appreciate the good it's doing. Now we are talking about efficiency in the software development era. And I would think that now we will have no more worries on actually efficiency when we employ AI, because we are the very people who are training these models. We are training them using the best developers we have. So we have that trust at some point. And like you said earlier, once the model is in play, we need someone to maintain these systems. So we shall actually need better developers than we used to have in the old way. So for you to keep up with the trend, adaptability is key. Appreciation is key, and of course ensure that you respect the standards that are set for all of these technologies.
Thank you so much. So I would also maybe add on what you've said. So the company owners, the managers should be aware how there is new trend of artificial intelligence. So they should know that their developers that they're managing, how they need to increase their, to learn about these new trends in order for them to improve their productivity and consequently the company. So I thank you for your response. So that brings us to our next question, which was, what advice would you give to aspiring software developers who want to prepare themselves for the future?
Yeah, thank you very much, host. Usually, from the low level point of view, I usually tell my students that the best way to learn a programming language is to write as many programs as you can in this language. But now sometimes the students ask, should I have to learn this low level yet I will never write it? I am going to have a framework to write from this code,
True.
which is an interesting thing.
Really.
So yes, in my view, I think you need to appreciate both. Like when you drive a vehicle, you're not a mechanic, but it helps when you have an idea what's happening in that engine.
True.
So let's learn the programming environments. Let's adapt to the IDEs that are available, and let us be quick to adapt to the emerging tech, any new emerging tech, such that you understand what it does and appreciate it first. Change is not easy, and human beings are not quick to appreciate change, but eventually it's inevitable. So if it finds you ready, then you'll easily adapt. So it helps for me as a developer, I think, to know the nitty-gritties. You get to know what is behind the scenes, learn as much as you can, such that as you use a platform to do this for you, you can actually take a look or a sneak peek into what it's doing for you. And you can be confident that you can follow.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I would go with your very, very first advice, which was learn the basics. Learn the basic programming language, those structured programming languages, because they'll give you very good foundations. For example, I started
Yes.
learning with C programming. You'll be able to know what makes up a single character, how they are bits. You'll be able to know what makes up a string, how it is it is simply an array of characters that is being terminated by a backslash and a zero. So you'll know what makes up a string. You'll understand how it is an array. You'll be able to know what it makes up an array. Compared to these emerging technologies, like you don't write a code and you call yourself a programmer, and you, like for example Python, you don't know what makes even a character. You don't know what makes a string. You just basically know what makes up an array. And in fact, you don't even deal with array, you deal with lists that come with a lot of functions attached to it. Like you don't need even to know how to look through a list. You just write something like that, and then you have a complete solution. So maybe when you come to something that is a little bit complex, you can find a lot of challenges. So I would go, and for me, if it was me, I would say, if it is a very fast developer, their first programming language would be C, or if C++, but it would be C, because C will give you very good grounds, and you'll have very good foundation for any programming language that you'll be able to learn, since you have like that hard core foundation. Thank you so much. I really agree with you in that term. So before we go to our last question, members, if there's anyone with a question, please prepare it. And then before we go to the question section, I don't know whether Dr. Drake is still around. If you're around, you can put in your request for the speaker, and I'll allow you to give some remarks before we go to the question sections. So we go to our very last question. We go to our very last question, which goes, in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities software developers will face in the next 5 to 10 years? I would like you to explain to us like different challenges that are going to face in next 5 to 10 years and different opportunities that developers are going to face. If you have a question, please put in a request. Just press that microphone. I will allow you in. Okay. I'll go back. I'll repeat my question. Is in your opinion, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities software developers will face in next 5 to 10 years?
Thank you very much, host. Yeah, of course, as these new technologies, yes, there are challenges that our developers are going to face. I think one of them is the reliance on these environments. I would call it project infrastructure. For example, if the environment is not available, then the programmer has no proceeding with the project. So he's stuck. He's stuck to this development environment they are used to. I think that would be one challenge programmers are bound to face. Now we have a challenge of keeping up with changing requirements. You know, as these technologies emerge and evolve, requirements keep changing. So I think programmers will have a challenge keeping up with these changes. Also, I think programmers will have a challenge with quality assurance, because now the programmers are distant from the code, and they are doing everything using this environment. So things like not able to review the code, or suppressing errors that you would have suppressed, the inability to do certain things. Then you can't do a lot in quality assurance. And also it goes hand in hand with the different quality standards that maybe are set. And because you're limited to what the environment is capable of doing for you. I think another challenge I would highlight is adaptability to market trends. I think this could also be a challenge, and being able to cater to the latest technology requirements, such as mobile first, mobile only, desktop first. Of course, we also have this challenge of desktop versus mobile. What the environment is capable of doing for you. So all these, I think, will be challenges that programmers will be facing. Design influences, application integrations. I think I see a lot of APIs coming ahead, because now programmers are just integrating different platforms. So you just look at an API and figure out how to deploy it. I think these are some of the challenges that programmers are bound to face. Of course, from a managerial point of view, software project management itself might end up being a challenge because of this kind of technologies that we are using.
Kindly unmute. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was actually muted. I don't know for how long.
No. It was just a second. Just 1 second. Yeah.
Okay. So I was concluding that's the test environment issue. So I think those are going to be our challenges. But I would give us hope that I think in all of these, we have a curb for it. We can mitigate most of these challenges.
Yeah, and even some you can use those challenges to become an opportunity. Yeah, for example, there are new things that are emerging. For example, Samsung is releasing a fold phone where you can have a fold screen. So it means that you have also to learn how to make application to be responsive to that kind of a phone, something like that. All right, I thank you so much. So I'll accept 2 questions, and then business manager Fiona, if you're there, I'll request you to submit in your request for the submit a speak request. So you'll give us our closing remarks, and you'll talk about it learning in just 2 minutes. So kindly, business manager Fiona, can put in your request. All right, so I'll receive a question from Livingston. Livingston Digeze, if you have a question, please kindly open your microphone and put it forward, or any kind of remarks. Livingston? All right, so Peter, I saw you also submitted a speak request. Peter, you submitted a speak request. Kindly open your microphone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barack. My name is Peter Subugatindeko. And first off, I would like to thank you, Mubarak, and the ATEC team to organize spaces like this that give us opportunity to really interact at a professional level. In the field of technology. So I think, to me, to a greater extent, the remark that I have from myself is really AI. The emergence of AI is really, it presents many opportunities for us, and just to make money, really, and making life easier for humanity. But the challenge to us as Ugandans is that sometimes Ugandans have a way of lagging behind, but the encouragement to us is that we take advantage of the opportunities, because AI is here to stay and to revolutionize the way how we do business, especially, and to bring the aspect of efficiency, which you have overemphasized. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your remarks. I really appreciate. Yeah, so what you've spoken is really true. People just have to appreciate and embrace it and move forward. Otherwise, if you keep on resisting, then you'll be disappointed. As our guest has said, AI is here to stay. So you have to appreciate and then embrace it. Thank you so much for the remarks and appreciation. So Abdul, if you're there, Abdul, I saw you submitted your request.
Yes, I'm around. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Very good, thank you. I thank you all, and I am really honored to be in this session and to participate. Well, as I was listening to our guest speaker, he was mentioning, when you posed him the question to highlight some of the challenges and the opportunities, I quite well had him highlighted a lot of opportunities, but a lot of challenges. But on the contrary, I didn't hear him highlight any opportunities. I think I would request from him to highlight some of the opportunities and strike a balance to the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdul. So your name is Abdul, and you're from where?
Yes, Abdul Jallo from Gambia.
We didn't hear you. So Abdul, and right now you're where?
Yes, it's Abdul Kadir Jallo from Gambia.
Okay,
from the
Abdul.
Gambia.
Okay, thank you for tuning in. All right, Mr. Jonathan, I will request you to respond that question. He says that he heard you mentioning the challenges, but you didn't put much more light on the opportunities as well. if you can, please. Open your microphone, our guest, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abdul, for this question. Yes, yeah, we have these challenges around, but I think we have quite a number of opportunities. Most of these things we've discussed about software development, about AI, security, and so on. If you realize, actually, there's a lot of pluses for us, uh, for businesses, for software developers, for companies, for public service. Depends on the sector we are looking at. But some of these things could be we have a lot of improvements in healthcare, for example. Yeah, we have now smart homes because of this technology. We have safer vehicles or cars and so on. So that means the transport sector is a beneficiary. We have cost reduction in a number of areas, improvement in products and services. We have improvements in information flow, education, training, and so on. There's quite a list. So if you actually weigh the odds, that's why we've been saying all along that we better appreciate the technology than curse it, because there's quite a huge opportunities that come with these emerging technologies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Jonathan. All right, Joel Peter, do you have a question? Joel Peter, if you have a question, you can open your microphone. And then I think, yeah, Joel.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening to you once again.
Yes, good evening. We can hear you. You can go ahead with your question.
Yeah. My question is very simple, and I would like to know about under this AI, how someone can use it to, let me say, to change the information from the song or the audios from the song, how to change it into words using this AI.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. I think that's beyond our scope of today's work. Unless Jonathan, you have an idea.
Thank you, host. I think our respondent is talking about voice to text. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
we
quite a
called
number
it
of
a
things we
song.
can do.
So maybe let's voice
Yeah.
to text.
So if the voice is in audio, then that means we are changing voice to text. There's quite a number of things that are possible. We have image to text, being able to extract text from image. We can do text to voice. We can do voice to the reverse. All of this is possible. We just need to explore, and you just need to know what is the particular technology that is capable of doing.
And I believe,
maybe I can mention that there's quite a number of APIs, by the way. If you Google it a bit, there's quite a number of APIs which do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of software out there.
Ask for it and you get an API that does it.
True. So Peter, you can try just Google, you'll find a lot of solutions to that. Thank you so much, Peter, for the question. So Hilary, you have any remarks and or question? And that will be our last person from the audience.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I would like to first thank everyone who is in this discussion, and also the host and hostee, the person who has been hosted. Thank you all. Maybe I would say that it's been discussed, but when you look at it in all angles, this is a tool like any other tool that has been developed before. The same way a calculator was used, where some mathematicians used it to maybe for good and other people use it for bad. So AI, much as it poses everything, people are scared, people are embracing it. It is like any other tool. Maybe that's what I would say. people are using it to improve businesses, do financial auditing, like in real time, analyze data, make sense business decisions, a lot of stuff. Then other actors are using it to for example, in cybersecurity, guys are building tools that employ AI to break systems in seconds, something which would have taken maybe a week. They can automate it and they break it in a few minutes or 2 seconds. So opportunities are there, challenges are there, threats are there, but it all comes back to what is your purpose or what is your aim. What do you need it for? That's all. That's the way I perceive it. So do you need it? Whatever I use it for example, people are using okay, for example, ChatGPT. Some people are using it to do very constructive stuff. For example, okay, improving their business decisions, what sort of. Then other people are using it for completely other things which might not be adding value. So either way, it's a tool like any other tool that is being used to do whatever a person wants. So it comes back to the individual, like Mr. Jonathan shared earlier.
All right, Hilary, we lost you, but I think we've got your point, and I thank you so much. So, all right, this brings us to our end of our today's space. Hilary, still there? Okay, this brings us to our end of our space, but before we close, I'll request the guest to give us closing remarks. And before I let him in, I would do what? I would like to introduce to everyone about 8 Learning. So 8 Learning is a platform where we give, we offer different kind of trainings about technology courses and business management courses. So if you need to get started with programming, we have the basic courses for programmers, and those who want to resume from where they stopped at in programming already have also that kind of courses. So you just simply go to our website or visit our handle here and ask us any inquiry, and we shall be able to do what? To respond. So that's what we do at 8 Learning. So I'll request Mr. Jonathan to give us the closing remarks or your closing comments, and then we call it a day.
Yeah, thank you very much, host. I think as I conclude, I have to say that the main thing we have realized is let's embrace these technologies and let's harness whatever we can from them, and let's appreciate and adapt. But there's one concern I think we should also have in mind, that we are going to have 2 kinds of developers. The low-level developers, which the host has talked about. We will have those who are interested in knowing the nitty-gritties, much as they can use the frameworks and the technologies. And we shall also have these high-level developers who will not be able to debug the code, but they know how to use the technologies. Both of these will figure out a way of surviving in this future of ours. But at the end of the day, if you pick the interest, I would suggest, like the host was saying, get to know the low-level details, such that as you use the technology, you have an idea what the technology is capable of giving you and what it's doing for you. Host, I submit.
Thank you so much for the knowledge that you've shared with all of us. And I thank you everyone for having turned up. And I thank you again, once again, our guest for creating time to respond to our question and have a conversation with us. We hope to have you another day again with different topics. I call this to an end and goodbye. I request all of you to follow 8 Learning. See you in our next episode. Thank you.